Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne 2014. There was some clapping there. You can clap if you want, it's fine. We don't mind you clapping, there we go. Good job. This is not a clap-free zone, so don't worry, we're not going to punish you if you start clapping or shouting or screaming for players. Todd's with me. Game one, long first map from the two of them, very close between the two, but then Polt really showed his class in game two.
It's more in game one that he impressed me a lot. So I guess in game two he had some brilliance as well. But in that game one, man, to be able to keep up throughout an entire game with constant aggression, splitting his army the way he does. Do you know how hard it is?
Yeah,
I know you don't, but I know you don't, because you can't even manage one army. But
exactly.
Let me tell you,
two Marines is hard for me.
This is extremely difficult. There is so few people that can do this in the world, and Polt is one of them. And I actually wonder, just because he's playing the way he is right now, and he's being so successful with it, and we haven't seen too many Terrans try this kind of two-pronged attack with huge chunks of army. I actually wonder if Terrans, like Innovation or anyone here, they watch this and they want to try it. I actually wonder if we're going to see the same thing.
I was upstairs watching map one with Innovation. I sat next to him. I see him
talk strategy with him and all?
We exchanged a few strategies. I gave him a few builds. And he's looking at the screen, and he's like looking, and it looks like Stardust might win, and he was like, And then all of a sudden it changes, Polt splits armies, and he goes, and I see him look, and he goes... literally just does that, okay. And I'm like, hang on. It's all gone in there. He's figured that one out. We're going to see Innovation a bit later on. He's in Group D. Moving on to our second game of the day. This is a bit of a cracker for a number of reasons. MaNa versus Jaedong. MaNa, it's been a while since we've seen him at the top of the tree. It's great to see him back in around a 16 again here at the Intel Extreme Masters. Hopefully you can see the bracket right now. I can't. Oh, there it is. Okay, Polt winning 2-0 in our first game against Stardust. He drops down. We'll play the loser of this next game of MaNa and Jaedong. But we all know about Jaedong last year. It was called the Jaedong for a long time because of the 5 second places in a row. I was speaking to a couple of guys from Blizzard during the break, and it turns out, and I hope this doesn't carry on, because this might be worse than the Artosis curse. I've been at 6 different tournaments with Jaedong, in Brood War and StarCraft 2, and he has finished second at all of them.
In control, if you can hear this, can you come and host the rest of this event, or anybody else?
Anyone could step in, save your boy, that would be great. So yeah, I'm hoping that's not a thing. But anyway, fabulous players, both of them. I mean, Jaedong, big favourite of this one, but...
There is another curse, actually, with you.
Really? Oh, no.
When you're here, a Terran has never won a tournament. The one time that you weren't here, MMA won WCS Europe.
That is another one.
You carry a lot of curses. A lot of bad luck.
The red eye curse is strong here today.
Maybe it's going to be broken in this tournament.
I hope it'd be broken twice this weekend, but that can't happen. Unless Jaedong plays Terran in the final. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. MaNa Jaedong right now. You've played MaNa plenty of times, watched him play plenty of times. Has he found something? Has he improved in such a way that you think, hang on a minute, actually, it suddenly clicked for him? Because he was brilliant in Wings of Liberty at times, and then Heart of Swarm comes out, and frankly, he's been rubbish. He hasn't been the man we saw him before. He'll forgive me for it.
Yeah, he will.
But it's great to see him come back. What's changed for him, do you think?
For the longest time, he was on a slump, and he was not performing well. He used to win tournaments, and then he just didn't do anything for a long time. And now I think we have a new MaNa here. It's definitely a new age for him. He's very high on the ladder. I know he's always kind of been, but he's playing very impressively. I saw him beat Deer yesterday on ladder. Everybody's playing with. He's playing very good games. And when I talk to him, I feel so much confidence out of him as well, which used not to always be the case. Even though he won tournaments, he was never that very confident guy. So he's definitely a new player, a new and improved player. But is it going to be enough? Against the likes of Jaedong, if he wins, he has to take on Polt. After what we just saw, wouldn't be very confident.
But you're right, he does seem to have a different mindset. I mean, I've talked to him a lot. I like the guy an awful lot. We often have a lot of fun. We've been playing Flappy MMO all day today as well, so good practice for him. But in seriousness, he does seem like a changed guy. He seems much more confident, thoughtful about the game again. He seems to have got his mojo back somehow.
Do you think he'd send off against Jaedong, though?
I don't know. That's the shame of it. I really don't. I think Jaedong's probably got this, if I'm looking at it from purely results over the last 12 months. But I
actually think the first match will be extremely close, and I'm not sure who to call it for. MaNa, he's been practicing a lot. He's teamless right now.
Yeah.
And that could change soon, hopefully. And
I've heard a rumor it might.
so I hope for him. He's going to play really well here. He's going to impress. But then again, everybody also likes to cheer for Jaedong. So big fans' favorite match. And also both of them is going to be very important that they stay focused on the current match and not think too much about Port, in which case it's going to be very hard to give your best knowing that you have such a tough match ahead of you too. So very important first match. I would say whoever wins
one game
here,
at a time though.
Yeah.
One game at a time.
Whoever wins here, he's going to have a pretty good shot at qualifying, not necessarily as first, but you just have to win one more match. Whereas if you lose, you need to win 2 more in a row. You would have to beat Stardust, who's also a strong contender to make it out here. So very big match we have on our hands.
Okay, thanks for now, Todd. We'll take a quick break here from the analysis desk and send you over for our second game of Group C. It's the fan favourite, as Todd said. It's MaNa versus Jaedong.
Thank you very much, Red Eye and Todd, and welcome to the casting desk here. And I think everybody's a little bit excited. Everybody wants a little piece of the dong. And I know you are very excited to be able to cast a player that you followed and respected for such a long time.
Yeah, this is definitely the match I've been looking forward to the most so far. And I can't wait to see what Jaedong, how he's going to play, if he's figured out something new in ZVP, how's MaNa going to play. He's been practicing so much, and it could be fireworks this game.
Yeah, and as Todd mentioned, this is a very, very important game from both players. This is a difficult group. Every single group here at the Intel Extreme Masters in Cologne is stacked. Just player after player after player, top player after top player. And here are 2 other ones. As you can see, MaNa, without a team shirt, has been teamless for a little bit here after departing from Mouse Sports. But do not let that fool you. His form is good at the moment with performance on ladder. He qualified. He's a qualifier into this tournament by going through 4 pretty good Zerg players. TLO, Kane, Nurcho, and Tefel. Jaedong's another Zerg.
Yeah, those players are pretty much the cream of the crop in Europe. Of course, Jaedong a little bit on another level, but about MaNa, I mean, he's a guy that has a little bit of a longer slump. But sometime last year, when his contract ended with Mouse Sports, you could really feel that MaNa was just like, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to start buckle down, mass practice. I will come back from this no matter what. And he's already shown that in the past couple of weeks, and even qualifying for this, a huge win for him.
I mean, to be fair, his last round of 8 finish in a tournament, last time we saw him in a quarterfinal, was in the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship last year in Poland and Katowice. So that's a long time ago. And since then, he's had a difficult 2013, just an overall difficult period in Heart of the Swarm overall. And things could change here. He's on the big stage, as Red Eye mentioned, but he is going up against a legend. Yeah. It is, of course, Evil Genius's Jaedong on the right-hand side of your screen, who has vetoed out Altateam Stronghold as the first.
Good veto.
MaNa, Daedalus, and then Yonsu again for Jaedong. What do you think so far about this?
I think pretty solid vetoes for both of them, kind of expected. This is always what you're going to see in ZVP, and MaNa actually told me that if he would play Yonsu, he would go for an all-in, and if no Yonsu, he's going to play more standard. So I think we're going to see some nice macro action-packed games here.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Jaedong, of course, towards the end of 2013 with 5 second-place finishes, did eventually get a first place in the ASUS NorthCon tournament. But even though that was a win for him, I am sure he has goals much, much, much higher than that. And one of them, I spoke to him today, was the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship in Poland. He wants to go. He is here to qualify as top 2. And as Jaedong being such a massive player, anything less than that would be a disappointment for him. That's why he's here, and this is where it begins.
Both players looking very focused. The first map will be Heavy Rain, which does lend itself a little bit to Swarm Host play, but I was speaking to Jaedong earlier, and he does not like to play Swarm Host, so we'll have to see what he actually can do here. Maybe he'll come out with something new, change the metagame. It is Jaedong, so...
It is Jaedong, capable of anything, a very talented individual. And I think you said something really smart before, as we were talking about the players, different players here at the tournament, and saying, you know, what is this guy's talent? What is this guy's talent? And we eventually got over to Jaedong, and you said that this guy is one of the most hardworking pro gamers there's ever been, playing 10 hours daily, and is so dedicated to StarCraft and gives it his best. And you know, that nailed it on the coffin when you said that earlier for me.
And something interesting about Jaedong is, like, when you see him at tournaments, he's not really the type of guy that's actually hanging out with the other Koreans. And from speaking to him a little bit, he actually he doesn't like that much because, in his opinion, they don't take the game seriously. For him, this is his job, this is his work, this is everything. He will do anything in his power to be on top, and his work ethic is just, it shows that. Like, for 8 years in a row now, or more, maybe 9, he's just been playing 10 hours every day, and he has no problem doing that.
And let's see if that's going to really pay its toll here in the Intel Extreme Masters. Jaedong invited in through the WCS ranking system. Of course, was a high finisher. Was able to get that second place at BlizzCon and the wrap up the year in 2013. MaNa, a player that struggled in the WCS. He's actually not even playing it in 2014. Struggled to qualify for Challenger. So just massive differences of scales and results for both of these. But is MaNa's online performing on the, the BattleNet ladder performance is going to be good enough to challenge this group? Pult, MaNa, Jaedong, and Stardust, a great group. Let's begin the second game, the second series of the day. And up here, playing for Team Evil Geniuses, re-signed over the Christmas period for this year. It is, of course, Jaedong. Looking very mean.
As always.
As always, very determined. And would you please do the honors here, Rhett?
In the bottom right of Heavy Rain, we have the blue Protoss. It is MaNa.
And of course, not only is MaNa looking to perform just to kind of show everybody that he is still a top player in StarCraft 2, he's Polish, if you didn't know. And if you didn't know, again, the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship is being held in Poland. So, of course, it would be an honor for him to play in front of the Polish live audience. He played there last year. As mentioned, it was his last top 8 finish in StarCraft 2. And he was able to beat Nurcho in the round of 16. Fell to TLO, if I'm not mistaken, in the quarterfinals. But it would be amazing to have a Polish player play in the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. So far, only Naniwa is the only non-Korean that has qualified.
Yeah, so we definitely need some foreign blood there, and of course the crowd would go absolutely crazy for MaNa if he were to make it, but that's a whiles away, and it looks like so far he's going to go for that Nexus first, taking a rather greedy approach here, which I think is very, very smart. Jaedong has gone for the 15 hatch, so this is kind of like that game we had between House Hopes and TLO, where MaNa is playing equally greedy and abusing the fact that he most likely knows he won't be cheesed.
Yeah, not in game 1 here, and especially with Jaedong probably knowing that he's coming into this as the better player here. Why would he try to open up in game number 1 along those lines? Definitely not something we won't see throughout a series, whether it be this one or another one that he plays in. But MaNa starting off very strong with his build here. Nexus then over to the Gateway. Gateway instead of a Forge here. No cannon, no protection if anything curly was to come. So he has gambled a little bit, but it's certainly going to pay off.
It's worked out fine. Jaedong actually playing gasless with the 15 hatch. He could go a couple of ways from here. He does see the fast Nexus, so right now he knows exactly when that Warp Gate timing could come out. And the one thing about playing against this build is that you can take that third base because the Protoss did not go for the gate and then the Cybernetics core, so you will not get a very fast 4-gate or 3-gate against you.
Well, Probe swinging down to this left-hand side here, and is just going to stay idle for now. Not too sure what he has planned for. MaNa's playstyle, when it comes to playing Protoss versus Zerg, especially throughout last year, was very... I mean, his mindset was overall weak, which led him to play very aggressive, trying to end the game very, very early on. And you, obviously, being a professional player, playing against him multiple times, whether it be on the ladder or online tournaments, how much has it changed recently, then? I
feel like he's definitely refound his confidence. And also, I spoke to him before the match, and he told me that he believes in... going into Phoenix, into that third base, into a macro game, and he did not seem afraid of Jaedong, even playing a more macro-oriented style, so I think that's what we're going to see from him.
All right, well, we'll have to follow that. As the 7-8 core has finished up, which means the Stargate would be available to be made with the next 150 gas from this position. And as you can see to the top right, just ticking over that 100, and if he is going to go for the Stargate next, we should see that very, very shortly here. Jaedong, very active with this circling, looking for any pylons around, or that probe hiding.
So far, that probe will not be found, and actually, MaNa did not even make a sentry or anything, and it looks like he will go straight... Ah, there's the sentry.
Okay, there it is. So it's not going to be the Stargate before the sentry here. Sentry then potentially could see the Stargate, as you said. Oh, actually, did he cancel? He cancelled the sentry there.
He did.
And then got the Stargate down, okay.
but now he remakes it, so not sure that was worth it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was optimal there. But whatever the case, he's got the sentry on the Stargate, he's got both, it's fine. Jaedong, though, has not gathered that information yet. He's poking around, looking at the front, sees the Cybernetics core, sees it, researching warp gate research, but of course, didn't see it chrono boosted, so no immediate threat, no immediate alarm bells coming out for Jaedong in the earlier stages.
And Jaedong's gone for the 6-minute double gas, which is a way you normally play against Forge Expand, so I feel like economically this is a very good opening for Jaedong. He did play against a fast gateway, but he did not worry about any kind of attacks, and now he's got a very healthy drone count, and he's getting the Roach Warren just in case, and he really see the Stargate.
Are you tweeting at the same time as you're casting?
Maybe.
What's that down there? That's you.
Yeah, I'm good at multitasking.
Well, you're a professional player, I'd hope so. So Phoenix is on the way, as you were kind of expecting here from MaNa and the Forge, right behind that too. And Jaedong has managed to get pretty good information in this game. He's fully in the light. He's not been kept away from any information. He's got a Roach Warren about to finish up. He started his lair. He's still building drones off the back of those initial Zerglings that he had from the early game here. Where's Jaedong going from this position, if you can try and estimate from what he's got set up?
He's seen the 4 gases, he's seen everything, so right now he's probably thinking, well, I'm not going to be attacked anytime soon. I need to keep an eye on when he's going to take a 3rd base, and, you know, maybe I can do something about it. Right now he's just getting 3 roaches to be safe, which is a good move.
And, well, 5 roaches coming up here. Does have Zergling speed on the way too, and is still droning quite heavily. He's at 59 right now, with 8 about to finish. And if my math serves me right, that will be going up to just over 60, 67, 66 at the moment as he adds on more and more. A very comfortable drone count. Robotics facility thrown down here from MaNa, so just a very traditional textbook style coming out from MaNa. Phoenix is for harassment, Phoenix is for scouting, and just feeling out what Jaedong's doing. And then, of course, falling back onto the robotics, aiming for that robotics bay and Colossus style.
There's the Hydra then, and the Roach beat, so he kind of sets himself up for kind of a mid-game attack, although I'm not sure that the map layout lends itself well for any kind of Roach Hydra timing that you might normally break a 3rd base with. So we'll have to see what he wants to do with that, but killing the rocks, if MaNa just kills the rocks, then all of a sudden Jaedong would have to go all the way around, and he might just get a couple of Hydras to not lose too much.
Well, look at these roaches. They've actually pushed all the way down here as the 3rd was placed and immediately cancelled and probe picked off. Nice movement there from Jaedong, considering that it is only a handful of Zealots and Sentries which usually aid the 3rd to be taken, and then even a couple of backup lings to support it.
So now there's even a bunch of Zerglings with this, and actually for MaNa this will be rather annoying to deal with, and he might not be able to take a 3rd base until he has this Immortal out, which is probably way later than he actually wanted.
And an additional 13 drones from this point. The Spire on the way. Phoenix is helping to clean this up. But with the Spire on the way here, do you think that this could be for Corruptors to bring down potential Colossus that are in the game? Is he looking for switching over to Mutas? Surely not with 5 Phoenix out.
I think if he would want to go for Mutas, he would have to take a 4th and a 5th base rather fast right now. Since he's not doing that, it looks a bit more like it might be a Roach Hydra Corruptor attack. But there does go to 4th base, and I know that Jaedong historically loves to play Mutas, and he does favor that style against Protoss, so it's hard to predict what he's going to do exactly.
Well, harassment continues here for MaNa. Does micro back nicely, but Jaedong down to the bottom left is looking to get to that 3rd once again, and is going to swing in. There are units this time with possible attack, and that is enough to keep Jaedong away from now, but more and more Hydrals being added on. Creep spread looking pretty good too. And his economy is absolutely flying ahead at this moment. 72 drones, 4th base on its way. MaNa's still looking to get a bit of damage done, and I think he's killed about 7 drones or something throughout. Not too bad at all. And he has found an Overlord, or quite a few of them here.
Decent, and he is getting the air upgrade, so that actually makes me think he probably wants to go into Mutas. What he's probably going to do is do a huge attack with all his Hydras, and then take the gases on his extra bases, and then switch into Mass Muta.
Yeah. All right, well, MaNa is trying to get himself set up quite nicely. I think that's there is one Colossus out. There's a second one, as you can see, in the production tab on its way. The one weakness of this map for Protoss players is that it's very wide open on the right-hand side of their Nexus. On the left, it's not so bad. You can you can kind of keep the Zerg contained away from the 3rd. But look at that open space there. If that was to be utilized, you're going to need a lot of force fields. You're going to need a lot of units to help and support against an onslaught of Zerg. And with Jaedong increasing his army, even added on 6 Corruptors now, we are going to see a fight soon. And the big question in this game, and the longevity of the game for MaNa, Can he hold against this next big attack?
Yeah, I think with 2 Colossus already on the way, MaNa is in a decent position to hold this, but I know what Jaedong is going to do right after this. After he is done with this attack, he's going to go into Mass Muta, and you know, MaNa is not just going to have to hold this, he's kind of going to have to crush this and be in a really good position afterwards to transition, because just holding, he's still going to have problems with Mutas.
Oh, the Infestation Pit. We could see Swarm Host come into play here. He's not afraid to go to the dark side, which a lot of fans have said about Jaedong recently, is he's so well known for his Zergling Hydra Corruptor and then Mutalist compositions, but the Infestation Pit coming down.
15 more roaches being added, so this is actually going to be a maxed out bust from Jaedong.
All right, is MaNa going to be held on? He's got the Mothership Core full energy. There's Photon Overcharge immediately. Phoenix is there to support too. He needs to hold on. Every second counts from this position for MaNa because his army actually increases. But this is a smart move here. He's found use of that pylon to the left-hand side here. And this will bring Jaedong back to defend, which actually aids MaNa because it does buy him that more time.
Yeah, and there's nothing actually on the 4th base to defend this, so this is super annoying for Jaedong. And like you said, it buys MaNa a lot of time. It's exactly what he needs right now.
And that means we could even see another Colossus, a 4th one, if he's able to just buy himself a little bit more time here. But there is the Enduring Locust. We will see Swarm Host been played here.
Seems like Jaedong actually changed up his ZVP style quite a bit, and then, like you said, is not afraid to go for Swarm Host. I guess winning is the most important thing to Jaedong, so I think it's a clever decision.
Right, well, here's the attack. Has MaNa bought himself knife time? There's 3 good force fields there, but the Colossus are starting to go down pretty fast. Photon Overcharge is activated on the Nexus, and good force fields from MaNa, keeping the majority of this Zerg back. But without the Colossus, and with that Hydra count still being quite large at the back here, is MaNa going to be able to hold on here? He does have Blink, he does have quite a few Stalkers, and it looks like he's going to hold on against his first wave, and with another Colossus coming, this is held, and that's a good start here for MaNa in this game.
He's going to hold on, but there's 12 Swarm Hosts already on the way, and with the creep spread being like this, it's not going to take a very long time for those Locusts to get to MaNa's base, and Jaedong is playing very much like Solke. I guess you've been watching his games.
So, I mean, with the Swarm Host coming out now, what is his plan? I mean, I think the Swarm Hosts were spotted there by a Hallucinated Phoenix or an Observer. At least one of them saw the Swarm Host. What is Jaedong's plan? Is he looking to play it passively? Is he going to sit back now? Is he going to start to siege onto the front base of MaNa?
Well, with the creep spread being this good and him having such a solid economy, I think there's no reason not to play an aggressive style of Swarm Host, which... he's playing pretty much exactly like Solke plays, which he always attacks with his Swarm Host and then goes on to the Hive and has the Brute Lords.
And what's the one big weakness of that style we've seen so often from Solke?
War Prisms.
Which we see right now in the production tab.
Unspotted War Prisms, and then that pylon in the left side of the map also might be a huge problem. This is the 2nd time there's Zealots coming from that side, so Jaedong should know that there's something going on there.
Alright, immediately as MaNa has seen this, he just takes a 4th instantly, realizing this is going to be a passive or at least a slower game here. So almost aren't the fastest of units, but he does need to get rid of that pylon down there. But MaNa, I think I really like his game right now. He's been able to defend against that attack. He's identified what he's playing against. He's clearing creep on the right-hand side, which we can see on the minimap is where his 4th base is. Clearing the creep, as you said. Creep going to be very useful for these Swarm Hosts and Locusts. So smart play from MaNa, double robotics facility, so he's going to be able to go 2 Colossus at a time. Adding in Void Rays, Pylon's still alive, and adding in the Warp Prism.
And the Warp Prism, I think, has not been spotted. It's now in the right side of the map, and there's actually no Overlords, nothing to that side of Jaedong's main base.
Yeah, I think we need to see Zealot Charge research here. It's going to make the harassment so much easier for MaNa. And as I say that, there it does come in. But the Warp Prism inside the main base, and Jaedong is quite out in the open in the middle here.
Yeah, and MaNa's doing a very good job marking in so many Zealots here. Once again, there's Blink Stalkers in the middle and then Zealots on the left side of the map. And so far, Jaedong kind of has a hard time dealing with all this harass.
Yeah, and that's going to allow MaNa to get a 4th base up. It's going to be able to continue harassment. We should never really see Warp Prisms stop being used. They should always be active, always keep building them. But he is right now on the left-hand side. That pylon's still there. Colossus still being built. Void Ray's been added in at this point. The Temple Archives just thrown in for Storm. And yeah, Vipers are on the way here. So if MaNa does step onto creep, go a little bit too far with his overall army, he would get punished with the Vipers. But of course, for now, he is sat back quite convincingly, really.
Jaedong adding a ton of static defense, so it seems like he does want to play it safe and just go for the safer Swarm Host. Starve my opponent kind of style.
Well, MaNa's overall game plan is just going to be sit back, get an amazing army while harassing. Jaedong's on 4 bases, which is pretty good when playing Swarm Host here, because he was able to get that early. But MaNa's got to keep Jaedong away from 5 bases. He's got to spread him thin. He's got to, almost to a certain degree, split push more, continuing to go down one way, then use that pylon on the left-hand side, army on the right, Warp Prism in the main, and just kind of use the mobility advantage that he has as Protoss from this position, I'd imagine.
And the longer this game goes, I really think that MaNa has probably played a lot of games against Stefano recently.
Yes.
Because Stefano has been playing so much ladder, and so has MaNa, so we'll have to see just how good he is against this Swarmo style.
Yeah, and with MaNa on 4 bases now, the Dark Shrine has to be something he'd want to invest in very, very shortly here. He is switching up and going with the Fleet Beacon and adding on more and more units here. Probably looking for just overall increasing his upgrades for air, maybe throw some Tempest in the mix. But the Warp Prism overall is, again, at the north.
I also really like the fact he's adding Void Rays already. He's kind of setting himself up for the ultimate Protoss army, which in my opinion is Colossus, Storm, and Void Rays. When you have that army, you have a really good shot to fight against Swarmo's Brooklord.
Alright, 3 Zealots on the right-hand side here, and then the Warp Prism goes into the main base. And is it going to be able to get too much done inside the main? It goes past the Spore Crawlers. It's going to find a bit of a weak spot down to the bottom left, or top left, sorry, of that base. And meanwhile, MaNa forward through the middle. And he's also still got that pylon on the left, so he is, you know, using his mobility to his advantage. And he does get a cancel on that base while warping in Zealots still from that Warp Prism. And look at that, Locust just dying immediately.
And then Zealots in the natural. Wow, MaNa's playing this really well. Actually takes out the Swarmos, but there's the Brootlord, so now MaNa probably does have to back up and immediately starts 2 Tempest. He is very, very on top of this.
Do you think the Dark Shrine is something I mean, the 5th base and Dark Shrine, 2 things that he needs now to add on to what he's trying to do?
Yeah, Dark Shrine is always very nice. You know, it adds the pressure for Zerg to always have detection on every base.
Yeah.
And actually he's going for the Greater Spire. This would be a very nice snipe for him.
And he's going to get that +3 attack as well, so... Down goes the Greater Spire, down goes +3 attack. Second Spire being targeted down. I'm not too sure if that will die, as Roaches are starting to clean this up.
It will not die, but it's very low, so if it dies later...
Yeah, more units getting warped in there. Warp Prism does get dragged forward, and it will get picked off here. And the second Spire dies too, so that's +1 Carapace denied, as well as the +3 attack. No further Broodlords or Corruptors.
There's going to be already 4 Tempest out very soon, I have to say, MaNa is playing really impressive.
Yeah, really, really good from this point. Double Tempest, double Warp Prism. But look at this army from Jaedong.
Yeah, this is the timing push with all the Brootlords, the Vipers, the Swarmhost, and MaNa will have to defend this. If he does, he's got a good chance.
I think MaNa's army's pretty good against it, though. I mean, if you look at it.
Those Void Rays are great against Corruptors. He does have quite a few Stalkers, which you do not really want to have right now.
Yeah, and he's moving up this right-hand side, and Jaedong decides to swing to greet that army. He does send a couple of Locusts down south, but there's only 1 wave, so it's not too big of a problem here for MaNa.
And the thing is, when you start attacking like this with Swarmos Brootlords, you're maxed out. You don't really have ground army, so this is, once again, a perfect time for MaNa to just go with those Warp Prisms, and he is doing that, and keep harassing. And that will be hard for Jaedong to defend everywhere.
MaNa's got to get rid of some supply, though. He can't actually warp in right now. You can see he's maxed out.
Stalkers away.
Yeah, Stalkers becoming less and less useful at this point. But still, I suppose they are pretty good against the Broodlords. If they were to split forward like that.
Nice move.
And he's going to get rid of the Stalkers and also kill some Broodlords off at the same time here. Only gets 1 Broodlord, I think.
Go down. But yeah, now he's got supply. Now he can warp in Zealots on the 5th base. And he keeps going forward. Actually, his Corruptors are dying to the Void Rays. The Storms are very nice.
Yeah, this is a good fight there for MaNa, and then added in the Warp Prism, which is back into the main base.
There's no more Corruptors, but there's some Spore Crawlers, and now there's Zealots in the main base, and MaNa is just pushing Jaedong back.
Yeah, he's pushing Jaedong back, and Jaedong still, without really getting a proper 5th base set up, and the Zealots inside the main, that's going to cause a headache here, because not only does Jaedong have to take a fight down here, he also needs to think about that Warp Prism up there. With the Dark Shrine finishing up, it could just increase its difficulty to be able to deal with the harassment here.
Jaedong has a lot of Corruptors on the way, and his Brootlords are still alive. There's action everywhere right now. MaNa seems to be pulling back from those Swarm hosts.
Yeah, he doesn't need to stay there, I don't think. Not when he's getting a lot of damage done inside the main.
Dangerous. Don't lose the Colossus.
And here come the Corruptors. And they're gonna, well, 1 Storm's pretty good, actually. The Corruptor's sitting there for quite a while, but there's not too much else there to support these units.
There's no more Void Rays, and now these Tempests are very exposed, and...
Oh, this is a big fight here from Jaedong. He's taking down the Void Rays, Tempest. The High Temple don't actually have Storms right now, so he morphs into Archons. Stalkers do get warped in to help this, but with the Locust there as well, they're going to die pretty fast, and has Jaedong got an army that can't be stopped now? Where did this go wrong for MaNa?
I think he lost his Void Rays to Spore Crawlers.
And, well, as you can see, 2 observers there see the onslaught coming from the Swarm hosts. And Jaedong, from this position, is looking in pretty good shape. 195 supply, 3 Void Rays desperately trying to be made, but there's still 8 Corruptors with pretty good upgrades. 2-0, I think they are at this moment.
Yeah. And now this is really difficult for MaNa. I mean, he's losing income on this base. He did not stop the 5th base of Jaedong. He does have 5 bases himself, but how is he ever going to kill these locusts?
He's got to get more Void Rays. More and more.
Yeah, more Void Rays.
More Void Rays. Trying to build 3 at a time here. Did lose the Nexus in the middle of the map, and it looks like we are going to see Jaedong go back now a little bit and
MaNa
look
just
from a different angle.
Stayed around a little bit too long there. He should have just pulled back earlier and gotten more Void Rays, more Storms.
Yeah, I wonder if he could have taken the 5th base a little bit earlier on here too. It was quite late. But either way, we do see MaNa moving up this right-hand side. Weakish army compared to what he had a little bit earlier on. But still, harassment continues on. 4 Zealots have found their way. Oh no, wait, they're Changelings.
Yeah.
Never mind. I was tricked.
You were fooled by
I
the
was
Changelings.
fooled.
They never fool anyone, but...
They fooled me. They fooled me. Looking at the minimap, I was tricked. And
now Jaedong's got 5 bases.
Yeah.
His Spear Swept is looking good again. MaNa still in this game. Roach attack on the 5th, but MaNa's army is nearby, so he'll probably deal with this without losing the Nexus.
a couple of DTs warped in to help deal with that, but even we see Jaedong taking an expansion in the middle of the map here, and that's nice. That's a nice burrow.
Same time, he is pushing the right side of the map as well, so MaNa probably at least going to lose 1 base here.
Yeah, and which one's it going to be? This right-hand side one or the one with the roaches? The roaches are cleaned up, so it's going to be this one on the right-hand side here. Nexus will get picked off pretty damn fast. Supply in favor of MaNa just by a little bit. What's his Void Ray count now at? It's got to be climbing. He's been building 3-3-3-3-3.
Anytime Jaedong wants now, he could just make 40 mutas, which is scary.
That's exactly what he wants to do. And
there's actually a meme which says Jaedong has the money for 100 mutas, does not lose supply, or something like that. He never loses his army, so he can't do the muta switch. He looks to be saving for it, for sure.
Yeah, especially with these upgrades too. He is looking in quite good shape at this point. And I guess it all kind of reverts back to that fight in the middle there that didn't quite go in MaNa's favor. Maybe a little bit too overly aggressive with his army. Maybe could have focused more on the Warp Prism play. But Jaedong's controlling this really well, and I think it's a pleasant surprise and a nice thing to see here is that he's been able to play a very European style, but very aggressive and also very economy focused.
Amazing creep spread helping him out very much.
Yeah.
You know, he can always pull back very fast and be somewhere else on the map just because the creep allows him to be that fast. And yeah, he played this out really well. I think MaNa did very well as well. I'm really impressed by how he deals with the Swarmos. He had constant Warp Prisms. Jaedong just not really making any mistakes.
Well, MaNa is climbing up in supply, but the big problem is that his economy's not the best. And one big fight here, and then that means MaNa's going to have to use his bank, which is 700 minerals and 300 gas, where Jaedong has, as you can see to the top right, unlimited resources to a certain degree at this point. So we will see a fight soon, I'd imagine.
Jaedong should try to lose his army as cost efficiently as possible, and right now these Broodlords are very exposed, so I'm not sure how much he's going to get done here.
Yeah, this is a good start for MaNa. 2 Broodlords, 3 Broodlords down immediately, and a Time Warp to slow down the Locust, a Storm on top of that as well, and now the Void Ray's charging forward, and this is pretty good, but here comes the Muta switch, and it is the Flying V of Mutas. 28 with upgrades. They're currently at +3 attack and +2 armor.
Yeah, this is scary, and I don't think MaNa's going to have any idea about this either. So he does have the 3 Beacon, but he does not have the Phoenix Rage.
Yeah.
And most importantly, he does not really have the money right now to just pump out 20 Phoenix immediately.
Trademark Jaedong here, that's used throughout last year in his Zerg vs. Protoss games. And here it comes, the Flying V of Musalisks. The Jaedong Flock is here. And this is going to be difficult for MaNa to deal with. Still building Tempest, not going to be too useful, those guys. And let's see this now from Jaedong, and let's see MaNa's reaction more importantly.
Do you think he's just going to fight straight up?
Yeah, get in there, son. Storms do come down, and a nice spread from Jaedong, going straight for the Void Rays. Fantastic upgrades and great spread, and this is annihilation as MaNa drops in supply, and Jaedong plays this out great from start to finish, and this is going to be a wrap as everything is done, everything is cleared up.
Beautiful finish by Jaedong.
And a marvelous finish here. This is showmanship.
Yes, this is how you want to end games. This
Yeah,
is how
not
you
with
envision yourself
almost
winning. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great ending here for Jaedong. 78 supply for MaNa, and he is now, I mean, he's as good as dead. He's trying to build additional Phoenixes to try to combat this, but Corruptor's even still here to support, and Jaedong's going around, and he's going to exterminate the bases that MaNa has to mine from, and even the Phoenixes just fly straight in there. A bit of a mistake there, but as you pointed out, there is no Phoenix range. It's going to be hard. GG is called, and a great start for the Evil Genius star in his first map of this tournament.
Yeah, really, really nice to see him play like that, actually. I did not see any Jaedong's EVPs where he went quite for that style with the Swarm Hose. Also, the way he did it, he seems to realize that creep spread is definitely something he needs. He always got enough static defense. He did not lose too much to the Warp Prisms, although his Warp Prism defense could have been a little bit better.
I think that was definitely one of the weaker points of Jaedong there, was his Warp Prism defense. But overall, that was a pretty scary game from Jaedong compared to what we see usually from the European Zergs and even Zergs in Pro League. That was a very solid game from him. He played his own style, he threw in Swarm Host, and then finished it up with his own style as well. But as you said, and I've said multiple times, Jaedong is one of the best mechanically driven players. He was able to creep spread, lava inject, and just control the game very smoothly. And it's going to be difficult to stop this guy.
Yeah, I think a player with the mechanics of Jaedong going Swarm Host, he can do everything at once, as opposed to European players, they don't really have that option. So it's just really nice. This is how Zerg should be played. Like, people would never complain about Swarm Host if they see him play like this every game, because there's nothing boring about what Jaedong just did.
Yeah.
And to see.
So, I mean, if you were to be a Protoss player, and I've heard you across the last few days, you're never going to be a Protoss player, but if you were, and you were facing Jaedong, knowing and having your Zerg knowledge, coming into the next map, Frost, how would you address to play Jaedong here? What has MaNa got to do you think, to be able to, equalize this series up?
Well, I've spoken about this before, and if I was Protoss, I would just never take a third Nexus. I would I would just all in. I think, especially against Jaedong, all-ins are very strong, and all-ins have a very high chance of working if you execute them perfectly. It doesn't matter which Zerg you're playing against.
Yeah.
So I don't think MaNa wants to do that. I asked him, why don't you just all-in? I ask every Protoss player, why don't you just all-in every game? It's so good, but...
Two players that spring to mind, not so just all in, but who gain an advantage earlier on against Zerg. MC and San most recently, both of them very aggressive with gateways, zealots towards the third, and do try to find an advantage and then go into the game and then figure it out from there. We'll see what MaNa can bring. It's not going to be easy here. He's found himself in a very, very difficult group here. Every single group is stacked at the Intel Extreme Masters. This is the biggest tournament, I think, player skill-wise, that the Intel Extreme Masters has ever seen. And I've said that more than once these past few days. But down here, to the bottom right-hand side of Frost, playing for Team Evil Geniuses, it's none other than Jaedong.
And playing as the blue Protoss in the top right of Frost, it is the teamless Polish Protoss player, MaNa.
Good to see him back on the big stage once again. And this is a big stage.
And he looked good.
Yeah, he definitely looked good. Despite that being a loss, he definitely was looking pretty good. And we'll see what he can bring to the table on Frost here. So these two positions that we have the players spawning on, they're both on the right-hand side of Frost. Yeah. How does this impact both players compared to, for example, if they were cross-position?
I think these positions are pretty good. Neither side really has a huge advantage from this. Both third bases for both players are far away from your opponent. It doesn't really get interesting until they start taking their fourth and fifth base, which is more towards the middle of the map. And I think this is definitely good positions that Jaedong would be happy with. I think.
Yeah, I definitely feel that this map compared to the last one is a much better map for MaNa when it comes to playing against a Swarm Host style.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think, just for a very simple example for players that might not get that, is let's just take Jaedong's fifth base, for example. The fifth base, down to the bottom left, I'd assume it would be, is going to be much more difficult to defend. Swarm Host very slow. Is he going to have to fill it up with static D? Is that how he's going to be able to defend it? And it's not going to be as easy to keep MaNa away from his bases as well, because MaNa can go to the top left and just take bases. And there's not too much mobility on Jaedong's side.
And Jaedong actually finds the Nexus and perfectly maneuvers his Overlord right around the side of the Nexus, but it doesn't matter. MaNa is going to scout him first anyways. And both players very quickly will know exactly what's going on.
And MaNa's opened up for exactly the same opening as he did in game number 1 here. He's chosen the Nexus into the gateway here, so a good start for him when it comes to his opening build order.
Once again, quite greedy. Jaedong opting for the 15 pool here. A bit more safe from him.
I think MaNa's build against a player like Jaedong is definitely much, much riskier the second time it comes around rather than the first. Because I think in game number 1, Jaedong will play his own game, but we've seen throughout 2013, Jaedong's not afraid to all in, and he's not afraid to play super aggressive.
And it really makes the third, if there would be a third game, it would be very interesting to see what they would open with then, because of course no Zerg player likes to be abused against, which MaNa is kind of doing a little bit.
I mean, the big thing that stands out for me last year as well was the Jaedong Naniwa rivalry. How many times did we see each other try to all in? You know, whether it be Naniwa 2-gating, Jaedong who's going 3 hatchery before pull, or vice versa, Naniwa playing too greedy and then getting all in. There's a lot of mind games that do happen, and that's definitely something to keep in consideration for the later stages. But do you think then that MaNa's just going to play a regular game then? Is it Stargate again? Is he just going to look at Phoenixes and basically repeat what happened on map number 1, but a different map, maybe a better opportunity, tighten up some areas?
Yeah, I think MaNa shouldn't be too worried to play the same way, because like you said already, it's a different map. It's probably a better map for MaNa. Swarmhost not as scary, and MaNa looked good in that last game, so no reason to really change things up. But he could also just you know, actually do a 2-base timing here. And also the Nexus first also gives you so much economy that those 2-base timings are a lot stronger. And with this opening, he could go either way. But there's the Stargate, so looks like this time he did not cancel a sentry. So.
Yeah, straight up to Stargate here for MaNa, who would love to have that opportunity to play live in Poland in Touchscreen Masters. And I think even if he wasn't able to get top 2 at this tournament, I'd be very, very surprised if he didn't make it to the open bracket, which will be there, which is awarding more slots to the Touchscreen Masters. I think it currently holds 2 slots available for the main tournament, the $100,000 winner takes all. It was initially 1 slot, but with CJ Hero winning 2 tournaments in a row, there was another slot open and available to be taken, which was thrown into the open bracket. So definitely think we'll see quite a few players go there. MaNa definitely. But there's the Phoenix production and the third and fourth gas added on, looking to just increase his economy. And Jaedong has got all the information, I think, so far in this game once again.
And there's the robotics, and this looks like a very just standard opening from MaNa. He's going to want to take a 3rd base afterwards. And what do you think? Do you think Jaedong's once again going to make those roaches and be really annoying? Or?
I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. And I think he would, yes. I think that the way that he played at map number 1 was probably his go-to, this is the best I can play style, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that again.
Yeah, he did go for the same 6-minute double gas. He does pretty much see everything that MaNa is doing. He saw the Stargate, he saw the extra gases. So Jaedong right now also does not have to be too worried about anything. He does get link speed first here. That's an interesting decision. Normally you always see the lair first.
Well, we'll see what he can make use of that here. There's a little bit of stutter lag there. I'm not too sure what that was.
Double Evo. So he's going link speed first. He probably wants to delay the 3rd base of MaNa, get his ling upgrades, and then play maybe a fast Hive Ultralisk type of style on this map.
Changing it up here. And it's going to be down to MaNa to kind of see what that is.
Game paused.
Ooh. Yeah, there was a little bit of lag.
Those barcodes.
Those barcodes, man, they are everywhere.
We don't even know who it is, so we can't blame anybody.
I don't know. Who is it? Who's the barcode? That's the guessing game on the Grandmaster ladder of StarCraft 2. Who's the barcode? Who is the barcode? Jaedong does not look impressed with the barcode. He's actually typing. He actually
Jaedong
typed.
doesn't know.
MaNa asked him, "Did you have lag?" And Jaedong was like, "I don't know. I'm playing so fast, the game always lags. I move so fast, it's fine." But it looks like the barcode has left, and the game shall continue. It's the analysis desk. Who's the barcode?
Makes sense. It would be Todd. He's like the only pro gamer, so he's the only one with a barcode.
All right, Phoenixes into the 3rd. Going to get a bit of harassment done, but also, you know, one of the uses of Phoenixes is for scouting. So let's see what information these Phoenixes can gather. Not too much so far, obviously, as they are focusing on this 3rd base. But double evolution chamber. Do you like this Zergling heavy style?
Yeah, I think Jaedong really smart. You know, last game the map layout was great for Swarmhost. This is a way bigger map layout, much worse for Swarmhost, much better towards a very fast and mobile Zergling Ultra type style. So I think it's a very good choice.
And we got 24 Zerglings incoming right now. If MaNa was about to take a 3rd base, yeah, he wouldn't be taking that 3rd base.
MaNa is actually going very fast Colossus right now. And he didn't even scout anything. And
that's
it really looks like he wants to do this build where he opens with Phoenix. It looks very standard. Then you get 2 Colossus add a lot of units and just go all in. And actually, against what Jaedong is doing, who's getting a Spire right now, I think this is a very good option.
Yeah, this is definitely a surprise coming out here from MaNa, and maybe he is taking a couple of words of advice from you, as you were saying, try some 2 bases. 5 gateways added on to the one that's already there, so it's a total of 6.
This is definitely all in.
And it's 2 Colossus, 1 Immortal. This is an older build that was used in the GSL. I'm not exactly too sure who it was. It might have been Squirtle.
But Jaedong should know by now. Like right now, this is where the Protoss normally moves out and takes third base, and any second that goes by, he's not
going
doing
in to see it. There's an Overseer on the natural. He's like, oh, wait a minute. Why do you have an Immortal, a Colossus, and Chrono Boost in that to... What are you doing? Wait a minute.
And now he's got the Spire, so he's going to be able to have Corruptors
and he's got quite a lot of gas backed up. 500 at the moment, and the Spire's not ready.
Knowing this is half the battle. If you don't get surprised by this and you have a Spire ready, then I think it's going to be very hard for Jaedong to lose this game.
Okay, well, MaNa is... Does he still try to go for this now? Does he fall back and take a third?
He has to go.
Well, there's an extra gateway, and he's going to go here, Rhett. And a couple of Zerglings do get roasted at the front here. But as we can see, Jaedong set himself up with, the 60 supply he can use. 104 to 166. He built Overlords when he wasn't getting attacked, and now as he's about to, and the Spire completes, in come the Corruptors very shortly here.
He needs to make Corruptors, but it looks like he might be saving for Roaches. There's 7 Corruptors.
Yeah.
Now the Roach Warren is done.
So Jaedong from this position, just clear the Colossus, let the Lings in.
Exactly. And the creep side is very nice. Jaedong actually with his Lings is running around. This is a little bit dangerous, but he does escape by.
Alright, well, Spine Crawler, single Spine Crawler being added on here. 6-7 Roaches. And MaNa is trying to win this game right here, right now. If this doesn't work, he's going to fall far behind, and the game is almost over to a certain degree. 10 Corruptors about to pop out. Roaches and assistance.
This is scary, though, if MaNa gets into the natural, gets a position.
Yeah, it definitely is here. Phoenix is to support this. There's the Corruptors. And how is this fight going to take place? Great force fields from MaNa on the left-hand side here, keeping the Zerglings out. And Jaedong's going to go straight for the Mothership Core, and then
what are the Corruptors
Phoenixes,
doing?
and then the Colossus, but great micro with the Warp Prism here by MaNa. And the Colossus staying alive for so long is dealing out a lot of damage to these Zerglings. And it looks like MaNa's holding strong here. 7 additional Zealots, an Immortal, a lot of Stalkers.
Wow.
This looks like MaNa is going to make this work at the moment.
MaNa's making it happen, and that's amazing. I don't know what the Corruptors were doing. They were like all over the place, not really target firing.
Yeah, they targeted the Phoenixes there, and Phoenixes, you want to bring the Colossus down as fast as possible, but not over yet. 3 Queens, a bunch of Zerglings coming in. But a great position here for MaNa to equalize this game. The natural's going to be broken. 4 Corruptors is paperweight in the sky. But here comes a last assault from Jaedong. Drones in the mix, Roaches from the high ground, Zerglings being flooded in with more and more coming. And is he going to be able to hold on? The Immortal. The Immortal's getting targeted down. Even drones getting... The Immortal goes down just at the last second there, but there's nothing left. The Warp Prism's gone.
No, it looks like Jaedong actually will hold this, but at what cost?
But at what cost? But at what cost? MaNa's on 2 bases. He's got great probe count, and he can very easily start to fall back on a 3rd base from here and start to build up again. But Jaedong took a lot of damage there. He's still in the game though, Rhett.
Yeah, this is hard now. Jaedong is getting the 2-2 upgrades. He is retaking his natural. This is really hard to know. Like, even observing, you don't really know what position you're in, but the supply does tell a little bit of the tale. MaNa still has a huge army. I think he probably wants to attack again once he gets another Colossus, and Jaedong really does not have the time to drone. He has to drone, but he does not have a lot of time.
He's adding on 10 Roaches though. Wouldn't you be expecting him to complete his economy once again? Well, he's currently at 48, 50 drones, but he's adding on 12 Roaches here.
Well, he knows there's no 3rd base, so he knows he's going to be attacked again. He needs units. He doesn't really have a choice.
Okay,
MaNa's going again. 2 more Colossus.
How many Corruptors were left over? 2.
Only 2.
1 very low in health here, as you can see, that red health. And here comes MaNa again, just a single Colossus, but a lot of Stalkers here. They do have 1-1 upgrades. Roach counts at 15 with 10 more.
Yeah, but not the Corruptors. There's no Corruptors. How are the Colossus ever going to die?
Yeah, that's going to be a big problem here. And MaNa, who is taking words of wisdom from you, my friend. And in goes Jaedong, and oh, well, those Roaches are dead. And that's not a good start to this fight at all here. And MaNa keeping his hopes alive in this group at the moment. He's looking to tie this series up. Definitely possible here. As he's marching forward, there is the Mothership Core, and it does have a time warp. And he's going to have to use that smartly, and this looks like it's not going to be defended this time.
There's no way. This army is way too big, and Jaedong tries to come in from all sides. but it's not going to do anything.
Yeah,
nice time
on
warp.
the left, and Zealot's just bringing down the roaches at the south here. He's still got the Warp Prism picking up units left and right, and this is going to go in favor of the Polish player. This is going to go in favor of him. Jaedong dropping in supply, and MaNa executes a very nice 2-base push here against Jaedong. Despite Jaedong seeing it, a rough engagement has cost him this game, and this is going to go to MaNa as he marches forwards. Just a handful of units left. GG is called. One apiece.
Nice play by MaNa. I mean, he actually did the build that Deer did against Sue on this map in the WCS Korea finals last year. It's been around for a while, and it's very effective. If you're a player who likes to go Phoenix, then the first game you take a third base with the Phoenix, then the second game you go Phoenix again, and you don't take a third base. It's like a surprise, and it really is using the Protoss strengths very well to try to trick your opponent. And Jaedong did scout and everything, and honestly, he was in a position to hold, but something we almost never see, he made a huge unit control mistake with his Corruptors, and just they were even flying over the Protoss army for a little bit there.
Yeah, do you think that MaNa is saying, whew, that was close?
Well, MaNa's probably really happy, and now also what we talked about before with him going Nexus first twice. Like what kind of opening do we see now from MaNa and Jaedong? Is Jaedong gonna cheese? Is he gonna put it all on the line with an early pull, which he has done in the past?
Or is he going to feel confident enough to say, all right, you get away with that build and take it to a different part of the game? The next map is going to be Habitation Station in this best of 3. It does lean once again towards more swarm host-oriented play.
Also some really good Immortal all-ins on this map, which we saw a little bit of. You can take the gold base and do an Immortal all-in base of that, which is very strong. So MaNa does have pretty decent chances. And if he has a really good build prepared, I'm a little bit scared for Jaedong.
Yeah. All right, well, both players now just in the lobby as we do get this game set up. What do you think's going through that man's mind right now, as you can see on screen?
Jaedong
just kind of
hates losing.
Over-analyzing that game once again, just being like, God damn it, God damn it, God damn it.
He's probably just really, really upset that he lost, because it doesn't happen that much.
There is MaNa, just one game away from causing an upset here. Definitely, you know, I think everyone watching this game, expecting to see Jaedong take a 2-0. It's 1-1 now, and if MaNa was to be able to change this, that would definitely cause a rumble in Group C here, with Stardust already down in the losers match, waiting for the loser of this series, Pult waiting for the winner. This is a great start to the Intel Extreme Masters Day 3, and a lot more awesome stuff to come. We have MC playing later, Innovation playing later, Classic makes his debut abroad from Korea today, and of course Hero Marine will be playing later on, who is making his debut at a massive, making his large-scale tournament debut, I'd like to say, with the massive set of players that we have here. But for now, we're still in Group C. We've got 3 Protoss players and a Terran who advanced through yesterday, and we are getting closer and closer to finding out the 5th player. But for now, it is MaNa versus Jaedong. Habitation Station, the last map of this best of 3. Is it going to be MaNa to take this, who, as mentioned, hasn't got into a round of 8 since almost a year ago? That's a long, long time. Or is it going to be the Tyrant, who has been achieving very high, consistent results over the last 9 months?
Yeah, and it's absolutely going to be so interesting to see what he actually opens with.
All right, up here to the top right of Habitation Station, playing for the Evil Geniuses, it's Jaedong. Death stare. I will murder you. What was it they used to say in Brood War? I will kill you.
I will kill you. I will kill you.
I will
over
kill
and
you.
over. And in the top left,
yeah, sorry, you
the
take it,
victim of the death stare, possibly. The blue Protoss player, MaNa. And MaNa already going for the pylon on the ramp, so maybe nothing too crazy. Probably going to go for a gateway this time. I mean, you don't really go Nexus first 3 games in a row. And Jaedong has made the Overlord, so no crazy opening shenanigans so far.
But MaNa's been leveled a little bit with his opening here. He's not going to try and do that 3 times in a row. The threat of Jaedong doing something potentially here on a 2-player map, so they know where each other is spawned. He is going to open up with a more regular opening, not looking to be too greedy here, and is even scouting straight after the gateway here, just getting over there, seeing if there's anything coming, preparing himself, doesn't want to lose the game, and that's almost a sign of confidence coming out from MaNa choosing this build, scouting earlier on, and is hopefully feeling good to take this one.
And Jaedong himself opening with the 15 pools, so both players do not want to take too big of a chance here. It is very, very risky to do so in the third map, especially...
Manly builds here.
And Jaedong actually scouting out his naturals, so playing totally safe. And MaNa is not going to be able to block the hatch, really, unfortunately for him. He does come back, he gets the block. That's a nice start for him.
Thank you, you're a stud. Jaedong fave player, Zerg fave race, since the good old Brood War days. Make sure, guys, if you want to be featured in the show and have your tweet shown here, all you need to do is send in a tweet and hashtag IEM, and there's a high chance, or a chance, should I say, that you do appear with your tweet. But yeah, MaNa being annoying, pile on down. Jaedong's expecting a cancel here, but beautifully timed. And actually, as I say that, it looked like he was going to go, but changed his mind.
Why is he not taking it? Ah, there we go.
It's a little bit slow there. MaNa here, set up on 2 gases, right? Not the fastest of Nexuses he could have taken.
No, he's definitely going to want to go for some kind of tech, probably a Stargate again, I assume, unless he wants to do a funky robotics build, but he's not Naniwa, so I'm not really expecting that.
Definitely in a book of builds, in the notepad of builds that MaNa has. Definitely. He does like his immortal pushes, and this map's not terrible for it.
And Jaedong actually goes ahead and takes the gold base here, which is kind of a risky move, especially against this gateway first. This time, the warp gate will be a lot faster, and he might actually need speed links if MaNa does decide to go for some kind of 3 or 4 gate attack.
He's going to have eyes on. Jaedong does have a overload inside the main base, spots the double gases, sees the mothership core on the way, and actually that probe there.
Zergling does not get in, and now Jaedong is probably really worried because like MaNa made so much effort to not let anything get in.
Yeah.
And he's got his gases for so long, and Jaedong does not see any tech, and there is no tech. I don't know why there is no tech.
And as a reactionary player here, Jaedong in this position, he absolutely will want to know what's coming in. So far in both games, 1 and 2, he's had full information. He's not been denied anything. He's able to find what he wants to find. And to be fair, has reacted brilliantly to everything that he has found. It was just that bit of a mishap engagement. Good engagement from MaNa as well. Can't take anything away from him there. But so far, no gas investment from MaNa. And he's thrown down 2 gateways on the front here.
And getting sentries. So it looks like he might just want to get like 3-4 sentries and then do a gateway push, which I think is a good choice. Jaedong once again going for the 5-minute 45 double gas. And this might be trouble. He is getting 10 links, which is a good move. He does not want to be surprised by any proxy pylons or anything like that.
I'm surprised the Overlord turned around here, Red. I mean, he had like a split-second glimpse of the second gateway, but not enough to actually click on it and know if it was a Stargate or gateway.
Yeah, and Overlord once again comes to the main, and he sees no tech at all, which is so strange because there's been 2 geysers for so long, so maybe now he has to worry about DTs. Jaedong basically does not really know what's going on.
And there's the robotics facility. Is this going to be used aggressively, or is he just cutting corners here? And when I say cutting corners is, for example, let's just say that there was going to be a Mulus play. The robotics facility is not going to help you here. But yeah, as you said, most likely here looking at an immortal all-in from MaNa, who is not afraid to do this, and throughout a lot of his career has used it as his go-to build. And Jaedong trying to find out. Oh, and he gets punished here for trying to find out what's going on.
He does see all the sentries, so now he does not have to worry about anything like DTs or anything like that, and he can safely assume he might. It does look like some kind of sentry gateway attack, so he might get early roaches. He's getting 3 overlords right now, and he's already got 10 supply over, so maybe he's just going to mass roach Ling here, which I think is not a good choice against Immortals.
And he's at 43 drones, and he begins his unit production. A Zergling spots the unit movement out in the middle of the map. He sees the sentries, Stalker and Mothership Core, and is starting to build up quite nicely. It's a Warp Prism, not an Immortal, bear in mind, not to start with at least, and he has taken the gases on the natural. So is this a bit of a fake out here? Is MaNa just looking to poke forward, force Jaedong on a lower drone count, and then is maybe just gonna recall?
Yeah, he's definitely just gonna recall. He does see that Jaedong did take the gold base.
And Jaedong is scared. Look at how many units he's making.
Yeah, he's making only units, no lair. There's the Warp Prism with the 3 Zealots going to go to the main base. Still, there's no Immortal being made. And now MaNa sees all the roaches, all the links. He has to go home immediately and start Chrono Boosting that. Wow, double Stargate.
1 sentry gets picked off, a recall back, double Stargate. MaNa, WTF are you doing? As the Warp Prism is about to enter the main base, and Jaedong going back to droning now with all his units on the other side. A nice move from MaNa, and this is going to be like hell for Jaedong. He's like, wait a minute, what? And now the Warp Prism's there, and he's going to get a lot of damage done. Sits there with the Zealots. Gets into the drone line. Nice micro hit from MaNa. And this is a good start for the Polish player coming into map number 3.
This is a very, very unfortunate opening for Jaedong so far. All those roaches did not do anything. MaNa is going to have some kind of weird Immortal Void Ray mix, and Jaedong's lair is not even done, so I'm really scared for him. What is he going to do to deal with the follow-up attack from MaNa?
Yeah, I mean, you think it's a follow-up attack, or is he going to sit back and take a third with these double Stargates? You think he'll actually commit quite heavily to a 4,
He's making
6
more probes
race?
still. He's making more probes, and he already got 46. So if he keeps making probes, he's going to want to take a third base. He already got an observer.
Yeah, there's a robotics bay. Okay,
robotics
so.
bay, void rays.
But I mean, this is a great start for MaNa when it just comes to the economy overall. You know, he didn't really invest that much away from his economy to set himself up to move through the middle of the map. Jaedong cut drones super low, really, really low. He built a lot of units which haven't really done anything here.
This is scary for MaNa though, moving out with his small army. There's a lot of roaches and lings sitting there waiting to see if there will be a third.
You like that?
Yeah.
I knew you did.
Rawr.
Rawr. Warp Prism going back to the main. Roaches sitting waiting. This shouldn't really be able to do too much here.
4 roaches being left behind, so Jaedong very prepared to deal with it. Does spot the third base now as well.
And units are waiting. Borrowed Circling sees it. Those units are in comfortable position though, tucked behind the Nexus. Couple force fields, Immortal there.
And no gases on the gold base from Jaedong. Now finally he does take them as I say that. So it looks like he will transition.
Imagine if these Void Rays are not spotted and they go over to the gold base with the Mothership core, snipe and get out.
That's exactly what's going to happen most likely, and there's no anti-air whatsoever.
Yeah.
And there's no overseer about to scout this. There's really not much for Jaedong right now that he's going to find out. There's one Zergling burrowed at the gold, but how fast can you make 8 spore crawlers?
Not fast enough, I don't think. Not for the time this may happen. As Zealot's coming to harass again, and this Warp Prism just going untouched. This is a really nice build from MaNa. I'm really enjoying this game from him here.
Yeah.
This is a very, very clean build. And imagine if he was to snipe the gold base and just fall back onto a regular game with his own 3 base setup. I think that would be excellent. But there is a Zergling on the gold base of MaNa, which could give him intel. That borrowed Zergling could give him intel if that was to be the case, if the Void Rays were to go over in that location. Remember, he has to avoid the Zelnaga Tower potentially here in the middle of the map. Warp Prism going to take a different approach. He's going to come down south here. He's spotted immediately. Jaedong is climbing up in supply, 180.
And Jaedong is going for those swarm hosts. His creep strat is already looking quite good. And I feel like MaNa is not using his Void Rays right now is a bit of a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. And there's an Overseer that's headed towards the main base too for Jaedong, because he's really trying to find out what's going on at this point. Hasn't really got any intel on what MaNa's doing for the last, I don't know, couple of minutes. And the Overseer goes in, misses the Stargates, misses the Robo Bay. And
MaNa's
we have
going
an
for it.
army
And there's no
moving
anti-air.
down.
There's no anti-air whatsoever, and he still doesn't know about the Void Rays.
Warping down the bottom right cleaned up, and this army undetected completely in the south. It's only small, but it packs a punch.
Yeah, and if all these swarm hosts are out of position, these Void Rays are just going to be able to kill them so fast.
All right.
Still hasn't seen them.
Okay, now he may see it with that single Locust. He does see it. He sees where the army is. Now Jaedong does have a bit of a heads up from this position. MaNa's going to jump forward, misses the roaches there. Could have maybe caught them. And this is a very, very scary, powerful punch. And as you pointed out, still no really anti-air. Force fields come down. Nice positional movement here from MaNa. And there go the Void Rays. And they have access to the gold base. Force fields keeping away all the locusts from this. And drones are melting there.
Yeah, Jaedong now in a very tough position. He immediately starts 3 queens, but MaNa does decide to back off. At the same time, he has been harassing with his Warp Prism constantly, but not getting too much done. It seems like MaNa a little bit indecisive, very scared of Locust, and is going to go back to deal with this Roach counterattack.
Well, this has given Jaedong quite a long time to prepare himself for this.
Yeah.
And MaNa is throwing down a second robotics facility and is just not going to be overly aggressive with his army here. He's going to play this much, much slower. But remember, the Warp Prism is still alive. It's still on that right-hand side there, I think, or above that base. But the Roach is waiting.
There was no need at all for him to pull back his Void Rays. Like, he's just moving them now in the middle of the map. Kills a Swarm Host, kills an Overlord, but considering what he could have done with them...
Well, he's going to swing around now, but I think this, as you say, it is a little bit late. Mothership Core's coming back. Ooh, juicy woosy.
He could snipe the main base so quick.
Where are the Void Rays going to go? They're
want.
still up north. Phoenix has cleaned the pathway. I mean, not even Phoenix, sorry, just cleared pathway anyway. Zealous is a distraction. Da 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 da. In come the Void Rays. Nope, don't leave the Overlords alone. Go for the Hive. And their charge is activated. And goodbye, Hive. Look how fast that is dead.
And this is an absolutely horrible feeling for Jaedong. I mean, this...
Wow, big blow.
Spire goes down.
And then remember, the main army is down the south side as well. So even though there's a couple of roaches attacking, there's a warp is available. This is a beautiful constructed move by MaNa. He comes down to the right-hand side. He's going to clean up the fourth base of Jaedong while destroying the main. It looks like a recall happened inside the main to go back to defend. And beautiful play here, but he must not lose the Colossus. Yeah, must not lose the Colossus here. As the Swarmos do reborrow themselves, Void Rays go back to defend, and he just needs to get out. It's a successful win with killing the fourth. Do not overextend here.
Go back, yes.
Go back, be happy with what you've just done. A main base and a fourth base kill at the same time. There are Vipers out, so...
And there's 20 Roaches on the way, but that's not really what you want to make when you're fighting against Mass Void Ray, Mass Colossus, and this is a very, very rough position for Jaedong. He's only on 2 bases right now, and the gold base is actually almost mined out, so he doesn't even have a lot of income.
And this has been a really good game here from the Polish player, and he is, at the moment, in a good shape. And
the Swarmos!
The Swarmos! And Force Fields keep them locked there, and 3 or 4 go down immediately. And oh dearie me, Jaedong. MaNa is playing this excellently, and we could be seeing a Polish victory here, Red.
Nice pulls on the Void Rays, but you're not going to get anything done, and now these Queens and Swarmos are definitely toast.
Oh, this could be game over here. MaNa marching forward, Void Rays in the sky, Colossus, Immortal Stalkers to back them up. The Queens are dying immediately, and what a game here. Roaches at the left-hand side here is the Mothership Core with this. He can easily recall, kill this base, go back, I'd imagine. The Mothership Core's regenerated its energy. And wow, what a game 2 and what a fantastic game 3. Zealots in the main base here for MaNa. Teamless right now, but for how long? With absolutely blinding performances, more Swarmos go down, and I'd only imagine there'd be a recall to deal with this army, and then go in for the absolute main kill and to take this game.
Yeah, these Roaches might do a little bit of damage. There's a lot of Infestors on the way, but Jaedong absolutely... I mean, he can't really do much. He lost all his mining bases. Does take out the 3rd base from MaNa.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have enough energy to recall, so he wasn't able to go back. He was at 90 energy. But what a game here. I'm really, really impressed here by MaNa. Coming into this group as the complete underdog. Most people expected him to be last in this group. He is taking a lot of damage and starting to lose a couple of units, but just overall army supply is in favor of MaNa. And what does Jaedong have to compete against the Colossus, Rhett?
10 Infestors.
10 Infestors. And is that going to be good enough, Rhett?
No. Maybe in Wings of Liberty, but even then, probably not.
And Jaedong is about to face down the barrel of the gun as MaNa heads towards this last remaining mining base. And a difficult start here for the EG player as MaNa marches up and will destroy the last hatchery. Jaedong down to 30 supply and below. This game is over. There is no need for MaNa to do anything else here. Beautifully crafted game 1, a crafted series overall. And we saw how well MaNa is playing and continues to play. The Unburrow and the Burrow. GG called, and MaNa defeats Jaedong 2-1 and moves on to the winners match of this group. Not a lot of people expected that. He moves on to the winners match and will face up against Polt, and Jaedong will face up against Stardust.
Yeah, what a huge upset, and I think in that last game it just played out so nicely for MaNa. He confused Jaedong so much. Jaedong was scouting all the time, did not see any tech, saw sentries, then made mass roachling. Then there was the double Stargate transition, which Jaedong did not find for such a long time, and I think you could really see that have an effect on his play. He was just completely lost for most of that game.
And MaNa is the player that walks away from the stage there with the victory. Congratulations to him. That's a massive result there, and that absolutely boosts the percentage and the opportunity that he can move through this group now, and it puts a major spin and a twist on this group, with Jaedong now having to go up against Stardust, and they've had a rivalry through 2013. Wins and losses traded, and they will meet in the losers game, but it is MaNa who takes the second series of Group C. And now, let's have some words from the man himself.
Thank you very much. Sorry, carried away here with MaNa. We're just chatting about the game. I don't know where to start, man. What a great return to form. It's great to see you back at the Intel Extreme Masters. Always love having you here in the Intel Extreme Masters studios. And you've played your game against Jaedong and won 2-1. Let's kind of just try and calm down a bit. I don't want to take the edge off it right now because I know you're ecstatic at having won that. But Todd said to me, actually, before I came over, ask him how he's gone from struggling to beat Firecake to beating Jaedong.
Well, you know, versus Jaedong, it wasn't 3 hours game though. If it was 3 hours, probably Jaedong has better control, so probably I would have lost. But I'm happy to win. I'm happy to come back. I'll do my best to advance from the group and be the last foreigner hope.
Yeah, well, you're definitely that right now. Let's talk about the match a little bit. Game 1, difficult game, but then things changed around for you a little bit, and actually it worked out all right in the end in Game 2.
Yeah, the game 1 I was a little bit nervous, because it looked good for me at one moment when I was fighting at his building expansion. When I caught some of his swarm hosts off guard, he had not a lot of corruptors, but I didn't expect him to have such a big bang. And he ranked max on corruptors, and I lost my army there, and I knew basically it was game then. But I'm happy with game 1. I think it was funny to watch as well. And game 2, I want to give shout out to Red actually, because I said, I don't know what to do versus 1-1 link style, and Jaedong did it, and Red was like, well, just go for Colossus push. And we're like, well, it never works for me. Okay, I tried it and it worked very, very well, so big shout out to Red for talking to me about that.
Protoss strategies from Red, that's new. I'm hearing it all this week. The man seems to be able to play Terran on the ladder, Zerg in the competitions, and now he's giving Protoss advice. Third map, let's talk about this. Now, I was standing with Kalaris, we were watching the game, and we're looking at it and going, oh, this doesn't look good for MaNa. This is not good. He's behind his supply. Everything looks great for Jaedong. You pretty much felt the same, right? And then all of a sudden, well, hold on, because you said to me you were a little bit worried in Game 3. But then
I'll explain, yeah.
But then Void Rays.
Yeah.
Fourth base, main base go down, swarm hosts appear, and you're just like, I don't know, maybe it was your birthday and your Christmas all at the same time.
Well, I was more shaken in this game than it was previous games. I had a lot of supply blocks, which I'm not happy about. But I was very happy that Jaedong didn't see me do this strategy previously on European matches, because I always follow it up with double Stargate. I just put a little bit of pressure with free gate, so he has to make some units. Then I try to do some damage with the War Prism. It's not like all-in attack or anything like that. It's just some pressure. So I was worried that he made a lot of units at the beginning, but when I saw he keep on making roaches and he didn't make a fourth base, I was really happy, because I knew he didn't scout my Void Rays and he didn't have any answer to them. And then when I sniped his Hive and fourth at the same time, and then I caught Swarm Hosts off guard, I was really happy inside in my heart here. And yeah, then was like game. It was just a matter of time to win.
I think you were probably the only man I know that's been happy to see Swarm Hosts today, because they were in the right place at the right time for you. He must have just been like, oh my god, what am I doing?
Yeah, this happens a lot to the Zergs actually. They have the Swarm Hosts burrowed and then forget about them. They can do their job for sure, but if the locusts are not in place and nothing else is there, the Swarm Hosts are completely exploded and it's easy to clean them.
Okay. Fabulous game, absolutely fabulous game. Great to see you play really well, and as I said, we're really thrilled to see you back here at the Intel Extreme Masters. There's MaNa, ladies and gentlemen. He is the winner of game number 2 against Jaedong, of all people. A 2-1 victory as the poll here moves in to the upper bracket final. We'll bring you that game next, but first, let's check out some analysis with Todd.
Thanks, Paul. Congratulations to MaNa. 2-1 victory, very convincing from start to finish. I had my doubts after first game. First game was a little bit strange. I thought MaNa was in a good position. He was doing a lot of damage with his Zealots. He was in a versus Swamo situation, and it looked okay for him for some time, up until he took a very bad fight in front of his third base. And he ended up losing a lot of his Colossus, Tempest, everything to the Muta, and basically counter-attack late in the game. The Muta transition was great. I was a little bit skeptical at first. So Jaedong showing his late game in the first game. Second game was an all-in. MaNa was able to win that. And we're going to be taking a look at the third game. The situation here was not your typical one in Protoss versus Zerg at this point. Jaedong, he took the gold base as a third hatchery very early on, and he had a lot of money coming in from it. But he didn't have any information because of this. He was spending a lot of money on roaches and Zerglings that did not achieve much. He was not able to scout for a very long time. He basically realized too late that he was up against a lot of Void Rays, in which case, if he had known, definitely would have made something like Hydralisk, some Spores, a little bit everywhere, definitely looked out for his main a little bit more. So now MaNa is in a situation where he has to make something happen before it's too late. In the first game, he waited too long. He was too passive after the initial Zealots harass. So in this game, he's going to try to do some damage before Jaedong is able to take 5 bases and has too much gas for MaNa to be able to win anymore. So he sends the Void Ray here on the top position, and it's really interesting. He brings the Mothership Core with them, because once you step inside that main area of the base of your opponent, you cannot get out with the Void Rays. If we go a little bit to the right here, you'll see once you get in there, if there is anything that comes through here, like some hydralisks or something like that, you cannot escape. You cannot go all the way back and escape alive. So bringing the Mothership Core, he wants to be able to recall if he gets in trouble with those units and able to recall if his base is attacked as well. And at the bottom, he's gonna go all the way around and basically counterattack on that force base of Jaedong, which is the way you need to play versus Swamos. You need to counterattack as much as possible. There is 2 timings that can work versus Swamos right now if you want to fight them head-on. One of them is with a lot of Colossus and lots of Stalkers before there's too many and too much static defense. The other one is the same composition, but with Storm as well. But usually by then, the Zerg player will have way too much static defense for it to work. So MaNa, he took the 3rd route here with that nice counterattack. If we play the game from here, actually we can take a look as well at the army supply briefly and the worker counts. You see both players, they don't have a great worker count. Jaedong was on the goal, but he made so many units that he's only on 64 drones. 61 for MaNa, who doesn't have a very well saturated 3rd base. So now he goes forward, and again, this is very important that he does a lot of damage here. Even if he's just killing most of the main, like some drones here and there, the hive, it's gonna be very important. So now he gets the hive very, very quickly. And Jaedong is focusing everything he has on possibly coming there and trying to defend it, but he has nothing. He gets caught off guard by those Void Rays. He only has the Queens. So I'm sure he starts some additional ones, but in the meantime, he's not looking at that base, which is going to get sniped. There is no Mothership Core here, which is a situation that's a little bit weird. Usually that's not supposed to happen. That's very risky for this army, but if you look at the composition of Jaedong, he has a few roaches, he has some Swarmost. That's not going to do anything against this army, which is so far out here. Great force fields are being used here. MaNa is trading very, very well at this point. He hasn't lost a single unit during this entire attack, and he's dealt so much damage, sniping the entire main. So now he starts pulling back. He recalled with those Void Rays to defend his 3rd base. And from there, he can start working on the composition he wants to get to be able to finish the game. But Jaedong, having lost his hive, what tech is he on? He can make roaches, Zerglings. That's pretty much it. Maybe some more Swarmos, but that's not going to cut it against a MaNa who's on 3 bases now, who's not taking to blink. He's getting air upgrades. He has a ton of Void Rays. There is not a single infestor around on the map. Pathogen glance is being made. This is too late. MaNa goes for a timing on the Swarmos. He knows they're there. He's going to get the force field, and that was just some super impressive play against Swarmos play on this map from start to finish. As I say, not your typical Protoss versus Zerg on it, especially not in a Swarmos situation, but MaNa dealt with what he was facing very, very well, and in the end it paid off because he gets the victory and he's going to have a chance to move on if he beats Bolt now. So congratulations to him. That's it for the analysis, and let's go and check in with Red Eye at the social media desk.
Thank you very much, Todd. Great analysis there. And time now to do some social media, which means also checking in on Facebook.com. Hiya. Hello, Zeus. And that means checking in with Facebook.com/IEM. It's Carmack's daughter, with an early bit of fame, by the way, there. That'll be one for the history books. We're going to check out the poll that we're going to be running this afternoon. So for the winners bracket final, we'll be running a poll on Facebook, which you can check out like this. So if we can bring up Facebook right now, facebook.com/IEM. All you're going to do is like the page, and once you've liked the page, click on this area here, which is poll, and the poll will load. The question will be, who will win the upper bracket game? Now, obviously, we've just got Violet and Zocker in right now. It's not going to be those 2 players, so don't vote right now, otherwise it's going to be nuts. But if we go back to the screen right now, I'll show you what you do. It's very, very simple. You pick one of the 2 players, Violet or Zocker, or, you know, the players that are actually going to be in the final in a little bit, and you click on one, and you click on vote. And that's it! Ta-da! Really easy. So if you think you can press one button, a like button, and click on one player and click the vote button, then please go to our Facebook page right now, facebook.com/IEM, and we'll have a brand new poll up there very shortly for the winners bracket final. Tell us who you think is going to win. Quick break coming up, and then when we come back, it will be the winners bracket final of Group C. Don't go too far away.